digital anything.
And
Then nobody had a PC, nobody had anything like that. It was all it was all completely, old school, or whatever you want to call it. It's amazing to think of now. Even the graphic designers, where you're dealing with typography and page layout and all that kind of thing, it was all done with three-dimensional pieces that you stick together, with wax or glue or something, and it seems almost impossible that you could even lay out a book or a magazine or something that way, but that's how it was done.
How do you handle digital media now, or do you like to use it, or are you finding?
Yeah, I love it. It's great for books. I mean, I can lay out. I did Chicken Big that way. Where's Chicken Big? So if we look at Chicken Big, it's line drawings with flat color laid in.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
So what I did, the reason that came about was that instead of doing when I did the sketches for Chicken Big, and I submitted my dummy book, the editor liked my sketches so much that she wanted to do try to make the final art look as much like the sketches as possible. And she asked if we could actually just use the sketches.
Oh, these are the line sketches.
So these aren't, rough sketches. These are like finished sketches. But this
okay.
This is this page. I'll show you.
Boy, if anything, it looks smaller than the actual page.
It might be. I think I blew it up a little bit to give it some more texture. So there's the finished page, and
yes.
I drew the typography and everything and laid it out like that. And what I did is I would take this drawing on this tissue paper and put it in my scanner. And let's see here. So I'd scan the drawing.
Now, is this because she was so in love with the pencil sketches?
Yeah, and I know what she means. It was sometimes you do a pencil sketch and you get a lot of gesture and expression into a character, and then when you paint the character,
yes,
it loses some of that. Okay, as soon as this comes up,
that's one of the things about Chicken Big is Chicken Big is such an appealing character, and you have said in interviews or on your website how you do tend to work with characters until you kind of fall in love with them, and you become maybe a little bit obsessive with them. I mean, you just want to get to know them, and
well, that's
he looks like somebody he feels like the drawings. He feels like somebody we've known before somehow.
Yeah,
he's like a real person.
He is. He's definitely an archetype, I guess. Certain characters, but I think that I mean, for me as a reader, I think if you have a really interesting character, then I'm in.
Right.
I don't really care what you do with the plot at that point. It's like if you're halfway decent at constructing some kind of plot, I'm happy. I think I do believe that in movies, TV, books. I think that I mean, look at Seinfeld. It's just characters. If you don't care what they're doing, they can be waiting in a Chinese restaurant, and it's fun. And the same thing with books. I mean, Huck Finn. who cares what, you know, he does a lot of cool stuff, but, you know, I think Mark Twain just said, okay, well, let's have him do this, and now let's have him do this, and we'll have him meet this guy. And it's just characters, you know, and all the characters around Huck Finn were just, you know, so brilliantly portrayed that, you know, I think plot is way second after character, you know.
Chicken Big, how did you come up with him visually as a character? Did he just spring out full blown, or did you work?
Yeah. Normally I do characters that are a lot more that aren't as cute as Chicken Big, you know, that are kind of weird and a little more out there than Chicken Big in both their design and just as a graphic sort of look, and also in their personality, that I try to, you know, in the details and so forth. I usually create kind of off the wall, kind of weird characters. But Chicken Big, you know, the whole thing with this, and I think this is something I'm trying to learn as well. I wanted to get as much out of the humor as I could, you know, and I knew I had a funny situation, and you know, with these dumb chickens, and then the big chick that hatches. And I knew, you know, and I actually played around. I didn't know which one was going to be the dumb one and which would be the, you know, where there's going to be a bunch of dumb little chickens, and, you know, the Chicken Big guy who's, you know, straightens them out and tells them how things really are, and he's the guy who's smart out of the bunch. Or is he a big doofus, you know, and the others are more intelligent than he is, and, you know, find the humor that way. One of them had to be, you know, one or the other had to be stupid and funny in that way. But so anyway, when I settled on the way it is now, with Chicken Big being sort of the straight man, I felt like for it to be as funny as it could be, he had to be really innocent and sweet, and just a little bit dumb looking, but not too much. Like, he had to be very, very much of a sympathetic character, and, you know, gentle and kind, you know, and heroic. And I felt like, you know, in the mix with the other chickens, if you look at the way the other chickens look, he needed to be the anchor of the characters. I couldn't have him be weird as well, and kooky, you know. So
he sticks out, but he's not weird.
Yeah, I wanted him to be the sweet, nice one. So I made him as cute as I could possibly make him.
As Keith Grace could make him.
Yeah,
a cute character,
which is not,
huh?
You know. Okay, this is really taking a long time to load, but it'll come eventually, I guess.
Did you know how he was going to look right out of the box? Did you just start down sketching? Did you have lots of versions of him?
No, it came up pretty quickly, because I knew he was going to be just a huge thing, you know, huge blob of yellow. You know, I knew that right away. But so within that, it was just a matter of adjusting his eyes and his mouth. I mean, if you look at his, like a key piece to getting his look was to have his, you know, I had his beak lower. So when I moved it up and I moved his eyes far apart,
yeah,
and made the beak really tiny,
yes,
and scooted it up like that, and then I gave him that Mo haircut,
yeah,
and you know, and you know, with the bangs kind of high up, so it's sort of like a Dumb and Dumber haircut or something.
Yeah.
Then that to me did it, you know. And he's always got a nice look on his face.
Yeah, yeah, he does.
So he's a nice guy.
Well, he's a
nice
a lot
kid.
of depth as a character. Nice kid, yeah.
But this is my favorite picture in the book. I think this would be a great poster.
And why is it your favorite?
I just like them all lined up. I like the line up there with the acorn falling. You know,
it's just a whole new take on the Henny Penny story.
Yeah, and I think, you know, and it's kind of funny because most of a lot of the kids who hear this book and as kindergartners or first graders don't know the Chicken Little story other than the Disney movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
And if they even know that. So some of them have never heard of Chicken Little. And the teacher has to tell them about Chicken Little, either as we're reading or just before I get there to get
To set it in cultural
not
context.
that you need that to
Yeah.
get the book,
No,
because I
no.
intentionally tried to write it in such a way that it didn't matter if you knew what Chicken Little was, but yeah, it was surprising to me. So it's something to keep in mind as I'm writing stories or coming up with ideas now. I think I learned something from that early on, is that my cultural references are not going to be known to most kids, so I have to make sure that I'm dealing with something either universal or or something that I know they're familiar with. So.
Real interesting.